Good evening and welcome to the January 10th, 2017 meeting of Phoenixville Borough Council. Happy New Year to everyone. We'll start the meeting with a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Crack, roll call, please.
Mr. Dalton. Ms. Doherty. Ms. Dugan. Mr. Ewald. Mr. Richter. Mr. Kuznar. Mr. Soto. Mr. Kowalewski.
Present.
Mayor Speck.
Semper Fi.
Manager's here, solicitor's here, and the acting chief is here.
Thank you very much. Moving on with the agenda, what is council's pleasure with regard to the meeting minutes for the meeting of December 13th, 2016?
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
Second. Motion by Mr. Richter, second by Mr. Soto. On the motion? Yes, Mr. Soto.
Just a quick clarification on, what item is this? 10A 6. The fourth paragraph, Mr. Soto explained that his comments to the paper were incorrect, and he stated it is his inexperience. I allowed him to make that statement. The comment about the inexperience was about the budget process, being new to the budget process for the borough, not the comments to the paper.
Okay. Any other additions or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We have no presentations or conditional use hearings, so we'll move into the first round of public participation. I'll invite any members of the public who wish to come forward to do so at this time. Please remember to sign in, state your name, state whether or not you're a borough resident, and please keep comments to 5 minutes or less. Seeing no public participation, we'll close that round of public participation and move on with the agenda. Item 7, appointments. Mr. Crack, what is the current openings?
Yes, sir. You have, for Planning Commission, you currently have a vacancy that goes through 31 March of this year. You also have a upcoming reappointment probability in March of this year as well. Zoning Hearing Board, you currently have a vacancy that goes through January 31, 2018. For Recreation, you'll have 2 appointments coming up for reappointment in April. HARB, you have currently 1 vacancy that goes through December 31st, 2017, and you'll have 1 coming up for reappointment in August of this year. Beautification Advisory, you have 2 coming up for appointment in October, and you currently have 3 vacant alternates of the Civil Service Commission with terms of January 31, 2019, 2020, and 2020. And then the Tree Advisory Commission will have a upcoming reappointment in June of this year.
And as I mention every month, if you are interested in serving on any of the various boards and commissions, please contact the borough or contact your council representative. We can make sure you get the information you need to submit your applications. Moving on to item B, what is council's pleasure?
I'll make a motion to reappoint Don Coppage as the Vacancy Board Chairman for 2017.
Motion by Mr. Ewald, second by Mr. Soto. Any comments on the motion? I think Mr. Coppage may be the longest-serving member on any board or commission in the borough. Thankfully, he's not called on too often to. Well, we appreciate his service. With that, anything else? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Walt Rubel to the Zoning Hearing Board.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Richter, second by Mr. Ewald. I don't know Walt. Is Walt here in case anyone has any comment? No, okay. Okay. It should be.
It has to be a resolution, so it was a motion to appoint by resolution, I believe.
Okay. Thank you. Any comments on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
I make a motion to appoint Nathaniel Craig to the Civil Service Commission as an alternate. It doesn't have the term date on there. I'm assuming it's 6 years like the others,
The terms are in 2019 and 2020,
2019.
so you can add whichever you wish to your motion.
The 2019 position.
Motion by Mr. Kuznar, second by Mr. Soto. Is Mr. Craig here? Why don't you come forward? You can introduce yourself to council, and if you have comments, please give them, and then we might have follow-up questions.
Sure.
Thank you.
I apologize if you have trouble hearing me. It's just a little thing I'm getting over right now, so I'll try and speak loudly. So thank you for taking time to hear my request to join civil service. My interest in civil service is threefold. So to show gratitude for the service and protection that the police force shows to the whole community, and specifically to me and my 4-year-old son. I've had, I'm an overprotective dad, and for me to never have worried about his safety or my safety really speaks volumes to the efficacy of the police force. So I've lived here almost 3 years, and I've had the pleasure of raising my son here in the incredible town of Phoenixville. I asked to join the Civil Service Commission today because I want to serve the police force, who collectively has created an atmosphere of safety for this child-friendly town that Phoenixville is. Parents come here from all over because this is the kind of town that parents know that kids are safe. So they come from all over, and for parents to have that kind of confidence in the police force is really commendable, and it speaks to the cohesive and cooperative and well-selected police force, and that's why I want to join the Civil Service Commission, to make sure that we continue to select the next generation of policemen as the need arises and as the department grows. So my last comment is, the Phoenixville Department's motto is to protect and serve with pride, and you do an outstanding job of protecting. You do an outstanding job of serving. And you should be proud, and I'd be proud to serve on the Civil Service Commission.
Thank you. I'll note that Mr. Dalton has joined us at 7:07. Any questions from council for Mr. Craig? Ms. Doherty?
Hi, Mr. Craig. I just wanted to confirm, so the Civil Service Commission is definitely the committee that you want to be a part of?
Absolutely, yes. My interest is, I have future interest in the Planning Commission, but the Civil Service Commission is a phenomenal component of the borough's service to the residents.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Craig? All right, seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
With that, we have the motion on the floor. Any comments on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 8-0.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to reappoint John Buckwalter as fire chief for the period of January 1st, 2017 through December 31st, 2018.
I'll give that one to Mr. Dalton by a nose. So motion by Mr. Ewald, second by Mr. Dalton. On that motion. See, now I don't think John is here. Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 8-0. We'll move on to communications and council participation. Anything from council? Ms. Dugan?
I have something. Well, I guess I have two things, but they're kind of related. So, first of all, I got last month a phone call from a resident with, a leaf pickup problem or anything, something like that. But this person would not give me their name or address, which makes it very difficult to help out with the problem. And I was just hoping that the public would realize, because when I called Gene about it, he said that this happens frequently. And I just would hope that people understand that we are here to help. We are not trying to, we're not going to sell you, the Acme space rocket or something like that. This is just, we're here to help. And I would just hope that would be a situation that, I hope we were able to solve the problem, but it was very difficult to do. And moving with that, last month I was really surprised, really taken, just off guard by finding out how many people had a problem with the, with our schedules of, our community events and things like that. And when I've talked to other people, they say a lot that they're afraid to speak in public. They've got fear of public speaking, so they don't come to the meetings very frequently, or they don't speak when they're here. And I think people, and I've gotten all kinds of one-on-one conversations with people and learned some really good information that way. What I'm proposing or hoping that, council would do, I think it would be a good idea to have like a community outreach open house here, maybe sometime after the bad weather, and, maybe in the spring before people go on vacation. And have something here. It would require no staff or anything. It would just kind of be office hours for the council. And that way, like, we would hang out for like 2 hours and just wait for anybody who wanted to show up or share their concerns or ideas or anything like that. Mr. Solicitor, could you let me know if there's any way to do this? I mean, I'd like to have it so that we could publicize it pretty, well and like frequently, so we could get as much maximum participation. That's if council wanted to do something like that. I just feel that it would be a benefit to a lot of the people that have concerns, and we might not have been blindsided by that last month if we had gotten a chance to speak to people beforehand. And I just feel like if we give them an opportunity, I mean, like, it could be, any night of the week, even on a weekend, if people, I don't know, just, it would have to be something, I imagine, that we go through policy. But is that something that we could do?
Yes, it is. The only danger, and I guess you're presuming a public meeting is, or not?
Not really a meeting, more of like, just kind of like office hours. People could speak to both of their council people at the same time, or somebody that's not their council people, just another person if they wanted to convince somebody else of an idea they had. I mean, just basically just office hours. It wouldn't be a meeting that was called to order or anything like that. It would be.
You're permitted to meet as a group, and I presume there'd be a quorum present. The only warning I would give to you is your discussion wouldn't be among yourselves, so you'd be listening to the folks. You wouldn't be discussing or deliberating among yourselves. It's very difficult to do because the tendency is to want to talk among the councilors. But frankly, if you were just meeting one-on-one or small groups with the folks, it really wouldn't be a public meeting requiring advertisement under the act. But again, I would caution you as how much you would deliberate among yourselves on anything that's being discussed. So
I was just thinking more of a public service, so people could come out and speak to us and didn't have to come up to the, the microphone and start because a lot of people have a fear of that, and that's something that, I think keeps people from giving us information. I mean, someone was in tears last month. I mean, this was not, I just feel like we should have known more about that.
I think your challenge is to keep it informal enough that you don't have this presence where people feel intimidated by standing up, and you can certainly do that in some other setting.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm saying, we could just sit around the room, not in our actual spaces over, anywhere. Just be present so that people could come over and, give us their thoughts.
So the answer is yes. It would have to take a little bit of structure and some ground rules, though.
Mr. Kuzner?
Yeah, I spoke with Councilwoman Dugan about this, and I liked it for a lot of reasons. She mentioned being up there on the podium, being a little intimidated. You have the crowd, you have us. I guess I wouldn't say we're intimidating, but it could be a little nerve-wracking standing up there. And aside from that, when someone does go up there and they air their concern, generally when someone does want to address council as a whole, they're there for a very serious issue. There's probably a reason why usually they do email us before if it's serious or call us, but when they want to come and address us and the town as a whole, it's a pretty serious issue. And a lot of times, even though Mr. Kowaleski will answer them during council participation, I mean, they kind of go sit down and say, did they hear me? Did they hear what I said? Are they were they just looking at their phone, or do they so we don't actually get a chance to acknowledge them. I mean, there's about a 75% chance that they're not even in Jim's ward. So I do like the idea a lot. I know we're all available through email or social media or phone, but a lot of times that face-to-face talk gets a lot more said. So I do like this idea. I don't know exactly how it's going to be structured, and I never thought about Dana's concern that she just brought to Chuck with the quorum issue. But I think there's a lot of reasons why this can be really good at helping us communicate with the public better.
Mr. Soto?
Yeah, I'll just make a quick comment that, well, I typically hold at least one monthly office hours at Artisans for residents, and I publicize that. And I agree, it's a great forum to get to talk to people one-on-one who don't either, maybe the time is conflicting, or they don't understand what process they might need to go through to get something addressed. So it is a great way to reach out to residents. Perhaps that's another approach that members of council could take if they so wish.
Can I request this be something that's sent to policy to at least discuss?
Sure, yeah, we'll add it to the policy committee. The only thing I would suggest off the top of my head is that we time it after the next billing cycle goes out so we can advertise it in the little pamphlet potentially that goes into the bills. I don't know if that's a possibility, the little insert as a way to get it out there to the community. Any other council participation? All right, seeing none, we'll move on. Mr. Mayor, we gave you a promotion to the first page of the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple things. As council received the email that Lieutenant Sostrom's on vacation in the Virgin Islands there, enjoying himself until such time as Saturday, 7 p.m., when he will reassume the duties of acting chief. Until that time, Sergeant Marshall has been acting as the acting chief. In addition, council received in their packets this week the certified list from the civil service on officers. We are in the process of doing the backgrounds, and the lieutenant and I will be interviewing them, and hopefully in February we'll have the names of officers to be hired. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anything for the mayor? Seeing none, we'll move on. New business. I don't believe that we have any, nor do we have any resolutions or public meetings. Reports of committees, boards, and commissions. Planning Commission, Mr. Kuznar?
There was no meeting, no action to report.
Thank you. Harb, Ms. Dugan?
I'll make a motion to approve the sign request for 193 Bridge Street as recommended by the Harb Action Memo of January 5th, 2017, and to approve the sign request for 260 Bridge Street as recommended by the Harb Action Memo of January 5th, 2017.
Motion by Ms. Dugan, second by Mr. Soto on the motion. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 8-0. Anything else from Harb?
No, that's all.
Mr. Ewald, Regional Planning Commission?
There's no December meeting, no action to report.
Thank you. Rec Board, Ms. Dugan?
I have a couple announcements. The next family night out is an interactive theatrical storytelling with puppets, props, costumes, and percussion instruments. That's for ages 3 to adult, and that's this week, January 12th at 7 o'clock at the Civic Center. The Foundations of Fatherhood program is starting up again every Thursday, starting at 1:20, starting on January 26th from 5:30 to 7. The Miss Love program, that's for girls ages 13 to 18. That starts on January 26th from 5 to 6:30. And then there's an adult program. It's a free 6-week program for women 19 and over. And we're discussing topics like discovering yourself, paving your path, moving forward. So that's starting January 24th from 6 to 7:30, and that's all.
Thank you, Ms. Dugan.
Just one question. Where would someone find out more about all of these events?
You can always call the Civic Center and speak to Ms. Winston and, or Melissa Gibbons. She will be, they would could tell you, and I think that there should be a website that has the information on it.
Thank you. Beautification Advisory?
Thank you, Mr. President. The two pieces of information I wanted to share, one was the Gateway Pharmacy mural was approved and will be funded by the owner. The Commission's own Teresa Haig will be the muralist, and she'll start that work in this summer. The other is just re-announcing the Beautification Award Program for 2017. The nomination deadline is February 28th, and we need nominees for both commercial and residential homes. You can find more information about that on the Borough website under the Beautification Advisory Commission. And that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Soto. Council action referred from committees. Parks and Rec, Mr. Soto?
There was no December meeting, no action to report.
Okay, I think that's going to be a common theme. Policy?
No December meeting, no actions.
Police personnel?
We had a meeting, Mr. Crack, I know that we have something in the minutes about action, but was it meant for this meeting? No, okay, then no action to report for this meeting.
Thank you. Infrastructure?
No December meeting. We will have our next meeting this coming Tuesday, 1/17.
Thank you. Finance?
No December meeting.
Thank you. Moving on to the second round of public participation. I'll again open up the floor to members of the public who wish to come forward and address council. As I mentioned earlier, please identify yourself. Please remember to sign in. Please remember to identify whether or not you're a borough resident. And please keep comments to 5 minutes. Seeing no public participation, we'll close that second round and move on. Staff's report, Mr. Manager? Nothing. Police chiefs, fire chiefs, code directors, public works, and finance are in our packets. Any questions for those individuals? Fire department liaison,
There is no fire department liaison report for tonight.
thank you. Any old business? I think I set a record tonight. I know. That's always my concern. With that, we do have a need for executive session to discuss personnel, real estate, and litigation. So I will entertain a motion to, no.
So moved.
To adjourn to executive session, right?
Yes,
Yes.
we're adjourning. So I'll give you the motion, and I'll give Mr. Richter the second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 8-0.